I want him or her back. Now, these words are an invitation. So, what I'm saying does do not stand as absolute, but rather an invitation for each one of us to really sit back and reflect and see what show up for us. Often, when clients show up for coaching and it's related to relationship, like a relationship have ended, and this phrase that show up like I want him or her back. I want to be back with this person. Now, however, wherever, whatever, wherever you define this, I want him or her back, like whatever you see, hear, feel, and experience when you say these words, it's of course individual, it's something very personal. We can't even generalize here, it's for each one of us to really navigate through. What I want to say about relationship are a few points. When a relationship comes to an end, whether we were speaking about we had to split, we went through a divorce and partners and a partnership, or somebody passed away, it is important to note that there is a depth of intensity and vulnerability that show up. It's an opening, and it's intense, it's raw, it's so, and most of us are not unable to be in that space. Relationships are on their own self. When we think about a relationship offers a possibility of growing because it will show up dysfunction and dynamics in each one of us, and this cannot show up on its own unless we're relating with someone else. And when a relationship ends, the intensity is so much that most of us are even unable to sit in that soul and tender space. And what we will do, we'll often try and attempt to ease that pain away. So the ending doesn't hurt, the relationship in itself doesn't hurt. The hurt comes often from this thing about, how do I go on now that it's over? What do I think of all of this? How do I make out of all of this? Who am I now without this person? Who do I become now without this person? And the struggle is the same, regardless of whether we think about the dynamic, relating dynamic with healthy or toxic, right? And often when we will try to attempt, we will attempt in easing out this discomfort, this pain, this uneasiness, and this hurting, this aching, this agony. And we are attempting, and I feel like it's important to say we are human, and that's the beauty of being human, because we will attempt. But often in the attempting process, what we forget is then love is not leading the way. When we attempt to get a person back, because I want to get you back, because when I get you back, it will ease out this pain and this agony and this frustration, this anger, this sense of loss. This attempting is not led by love. This attempting is often led by a sense of abandonment, rejection, pain, and despair, and hopelessness, and so much more. So what do we do instead? We learn to pause in the opening offered to us, in this aching, tender opening offered to us, in whatever is showing up for us. And often relationships, especially ending, trigger our own unmet trauma, wound, attachment, pain, and so much more. So we learn to sit in that space. We practice going there and sitting in that space every day. We're just using that inhalation and exhalation and going there. We practice sitting there and feeling what we feel instead of thinking what we are feeling. You don't think about it. You feel. You're feeling pain. Feel it. You're feeling sad. Feel it. You're feeling hopeless. Feel it. Feeling it doesn't mean you become it. You feel it. And as you begin practicing holding yourself tenderly as a child in love and kindness, then maybe on the way of practicing, the question shows up again: do I want him or her back? And maybe the answer is yes. And when the answer is yes this time, and maybe this time it's a whole new way of operating and dynamics that show up. Because when relationship end, what is ending is the way, all way of operating and all way of relating, the old dynamic. Now suddenly somebody is no more relating to you in that old dynamic. Suddenly somebody is no more fighting against you or fighting you back. Suddenly somebody is no more dimming off to be with you. And this old way of dynamic is what you lose when a relationship ends. And then either of the partners or one of them is going to go and try to grab back and get that dynamic back. And that's the beauty of life. That's the compassionate nature of life. What doesn't serve is going to be pushed to an end at one point. If this old dynamic doesn't serve you, it's going to be kicked out. And as you practice sitting with that aching, agony, pain, or however you call that, on the way, if the question shows up again, do I want to be with that person? You having gone through your past and walked through your pain and aching and tears, however you say that, there comes a point, maybe if you meet again as lovers, as partners, the old dynamic are gone and there is a whole new set of dynamic in operation.